All right, y'all, what's up? What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Of course, more handlebars. These are the bars from Tavelo. I am super excited about this bar. Right now, on the Factor Austral VAM, I have the Avian bars. These bars are going to replace the Avian bars. Why? Because I wanted to try something different, man. I don't know. I got this thing about handlebars, man, trying to find something else. Now, one of the things about this bar specifically is on my current setup with the Factor Austral VAM, I'm running the Avian bar, like I said, and it's a 38 wide and it's 110 stem length, right? This bar right here, I am running a 36, bro, which is super tiny, right? Running 36 by 100. Why did I go to 100? It's because of the reach of this bar. The reach on this bar is 77, and the reach on the Avian is 70. So there's about a 7 mil difference, close to 10. I figured if I had the 110, it might be just a little too long. So I went to the 100. That way the size should be about the same. And then I went to the 360. So what you want to see, let's open this up and look at this, right? Now I'll open this up briefly, but I didn't unpackage it, man, because look at this packaging. Tavelo, y'all did excellent with this. I am feeling the packaging. Looks really good. You got the bars. You got this little pack right here. And inside here, when you order your bars, you let them know what kind of bike you have, and they will 3D print you a spacer. And this is the spacers. We're going to look at these more in depth. And this is the top cap. And this is just like a standard round top cap. And like I said, we'll look at that a little bit more in a minute. But these bars, man, oh my goodness. I want to see what these bars look like. They are looking pretty tiny, bro. They are looking pretty tiny. A lot of people have been riding these bars. They have been loving them, man. They kind of resemble the EXS bars, but the EXS bars, you know, they are never freaking in stock, bro. Let me see, what else is this? I think this is a box full of little extra parts. Nothing else inside here. I'm gonna get this box out the way. All right, and let's open this up real quick. This is probably some extra hardware and the computer mount. Oh, this looks nice. Oh, yeah. So this is the inside spacers. So if you have like a Garmin or a Wahoo, that's what this is for. Hold on a second. Like I said, if you have like a Garmin or a Wahoo, that's what this is for. These are some extra pieces. Let me see. This piece right here, I like this. What this does is, this reminds me of how the Specialized computer mount is. And what this is this takes up the space, whether you have it up front or if you have it towards the rear of the computer mount, just so that it sits more flush. I really like how that looks. And that's how I'll probably have it, because I have a Garmin 1030, which is a large computer, and that space would probably work out for me. But this computer mount looks really good. Really good. Oh, and now, back to these bars. I thought I had a blade sitting over here somewhere. Let me see. I want to cut these tape off in here. This is a super small bar, bro. Oh my goodness. Ooh. It looks good. It looks good. Oh man, it's a good looking bar. Definitely looks aero. Oh, it looks really good. It looks really good. I like the kind of fiber paste that's on here, and it comes all the way up here. That's what I like. I've had some bars where the paste may kind of stop right here, but this one goes all the way up, like past almost 90 degrees. That's nice. The texture up here, this kind of reminds me of the Specialized bar, the Roval bar. And as you can see on the bottom, it tells you the size. This is the 36 by 100. The integrated part, this is almost just like how the Avian is. Got your hardware in there. Steer tube. And like I said, it has a standard top cap, which is kind of dope. I kind of like the standard one better. That way I can use whichever one I want. It's not something proprietary. And what I'll use is, wow, this is super thin, this top cap. I'll probably just use the regular factor one. And that goes on there. I like that. I like that. This is a good looking bar, man. For 300 bucks, I mean, you really can't beat this. It looks good. It looks good. It feels pretty freaking stiff. It feels pretty stiff. What I want to do now is get the weight, because I know you want to see how much does this thing weigh. All right, before we get this weight, I wanted to put the computer mount together so you can kind of see what it looks like. And it looks really good. It is really, really nice. One of the things that's different about this computer mount is it has 3 screws. Normally I see computer mounts and it only has 2 screws. So this one has 3. Another thing that's pretty nice is when you are connecting the computer mount to the bar, these bolts are cone shaped. Let me see, because this is a cone shape too. Like this bolt right here. This bolt is cone shaped as well. As you can see, like the head, the taper on it. And with those being cone shaped, when you are putting the bolts inside of the computer mount, the cone from the bolt sits inside this recessed part of the computer mount, and it sits flush. And what that does is it perfectly aligns the computer mount. Because unlike some computer mounts from some of the Chinese bars, were just used as that regular, it's like a universal computer mount, and it just has 2 holes, and it kind of just sits here, and it's up to you to make sure that it's straight. I don't like those because it's just like extra work you got to do. Like I said, with this one having the recess in there with the cone bolts, it perfectly aligns it. Looks really good. And like I said, with this spacer on here, I put this spacer on here because I have a larger computer. I have the Garmin 1030. Where is my Garmin 1030? So when it sits on here, it's for that larger computer. Now, if you had a smaller computer, you can move this part of the computer mount down and put the spacer up top, and that's pretty dope. And this right here, the only people I've seen doing this is like Specialized, and specifically like that Barfly. Because if you look at the Specialized, the roval joint is kind of the same. I think the Specialized one looks better, has more detail in it, but this one looks good too. Looks really good. Now, let's see how much this bar system weighs. Get the scale out, get this thing on, and I gotta re-zero this. Oh, that ain't what I want. Okay, so we got the top cap in the bolt. That is 9 grams, right? The computer mount is already on here, and the hardware is already in here as well. The total weight of this is 373 grams. Now, I forget how much my Avian bars weighed and how much my Roval bars weighed, but I will put them up on the screen and let you know how much those weigh so you can kind of see the difference. But I want to say, I think the Roval bars was like 365, something like that. And I want to say that the Avian bars might have been just a little bit lighter weight. So for 373, full system with the top cap and all that, I'm good with that, right? No issues. Now, Now, I will say this too, right? The Avian Falcon 2s are a lighter in weight bar system. They are lighter than this, and they were lighter than the Robo. But I will say this though, right? The Avian bars were dope, but they are not as stiff as like the Robo bar. The Robo bar is stiff. So with this one being like 370 weight, I think that's a good amount of weight, and I'm expecting this to be more stiff than the Avian bar. Now, another thing I want to show you is when you are ordering your bar system, they ask you what type of bike you got, and they send you a spacer. Now, this is something that's really, really dope about these spacers, right? So they sent, let me see, 10, 20, 30, 35 worth of stack of spacers. That's a lot. That's plenty, right? But this is the spacer for my Factor Austro VAM. Oh, that's cool because it actually says it on there. Factor Austro VAM. Now, one of the things that's different from the Tavelo folks versus like the Avian folks, right? With the Avian folks, when they sent out the spacer, the spacer that covers the headset bearings stays on there. The one from Factor stays on there, and then their spacer goes on top of that. This right here replaces that whole piece. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So on the Factor Austro VAM, this is the stock Factor Austro VAM spacer that goes on top of the headset bearings. And you see in here how this is recessed. Once you put this over the headset bearings, then you could put the rest of the stack on there. So with the Avian bars, their transition spacer goes on top of this. So you still use the stock one. Is that a bad thing? It's not so much a bad thing, but if you are super slammed, because this is, I want to say this is like 25 mil, right? Plus the Avian spacer is like another 15. You're going to be up another 15, right? With this one, it goes right onto the bike. And then you can put the spacers on there. So if you want to ride low, you can. And if you look at this spacer, the Tavelo one versus the Factor one, they did a great job. It's the exact same. And I will do a video so you can see what it looks like on my bike, how the Avian one looks. All right, y'all. So this is the Avian bar as it sits on my Factor right now. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit so I can kind of show you what I'm talking about as far as this piece. So the Factor Austro VAM comes with two spacers that cover the headset spacers, right? You got the small one, which is the minimal one. That's the one I have on there. But it also comes with this one, which is thicker. I want to say this one's like 5 mil, and this one's like 25 mil. So depending on how low you want to be, you can use whichever one. Now, like I said, this is the stock Factor Austro VAM headset cover. Then I have a Factor Austro VAM spacer, and then it's the Avian transition spacer. So the Avian transition spacer was made to go on top of this. With the Tavelo one, the Tavelo one's going to completely replace this and put all this on there. And this is probably about, this looks like about 10 or so. But with this on here, it's going to have a way cleaner and smoother transition than the Tavelo one. I mean, than the Avian one. Because the Factor Austro VAM spacers are pretty thin. And if you look at this, it kind of beefs out. It flares out a lot. I don't think it looks bad, but it does look like this bar was modified to fit this bike, instead of it looking like a more seamless transition. I think the Tavelo bar is going to have a more seamless transition, because even if you look at this, this is more beefy than the standard skinny Factor Austro VAM one. So I think Tavelo does a better job of making a transition spacer for your specific bike. And like I said, when you order the bar, You tell them what bike you got. They'll probably tell you to take a picture of your stack, and that way they can make your transition spacer. So really happy about that. Looking forward to that. And then also, like I was talking about earlier, the Avian uses a proprietary top cap. It's kind of got like that oval shape. And it's not bad. It looks clean. But with the Tavelo one, it's just a standard round size, so you can use any one. And then also, if you want to have some steer tube come up through the top of that, you can put a spacer on it, then put the top cap on there, and it won't look kind of crazy, right? But yes, this is the Tavelo bar. It is going on the Factor Austral VAM. I'm really excited about it. I think the bar looks really good. It has a lot of nice features on it. I like the texture up here. Like I said, it reminds me of the Roval. Even the Cockpit computer mount reminds me of the Roval. It's very thin. I think the weight is on point. It's light enough to be light, but heavy enough to be stiff, if that makes any sense. But I'll be able to give you some more feedback once I get it on the bike. And like I said, with the top cap, I like the regular standard size. So if you want some chimney to come up through there, you can use a regular stock top cap, and I'll be using my Factor one that came with the bike. But it looks really good. I think the only thing I'm going to do differently with this is that it comes with this stainless hardware. I'll probably replace this with some black titanium bolts. And another thing that's really cool about this is if you look on the other side, you do not see any bolt holes. This is different. This kind of reminds me like of a lot of the newer style bikes on the forks for the through axles. You only see the area that bolts in from one side, and then on the other side it's covered just with carbon. So that's pretty dope. That's going to look really clean. So let's get it on the bike, and I'll show you more, and we'll talk about it later. That's all I got for you. It's your boy, Mr. Rob Armstrong. And also, if you're liking the content, please consider subscribing to the channel. I'm out.